All right, welcome everyone to the College Admissions Collaborative highlighting engineering and technology college fair. We're really excited to have you participating in this event tonight. We've got a fantastic school with us here today. My name is Andy and I will be your facilitator. And before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping announcements here. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists will not be able to see or hear you. Now you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenter at any time. And lastly, this presentation is being recorded, and that recording is going to be available at strivescan.com/cachet. And now I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to our presenter from Rice University.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today and for having me. My name is Aziza John Mohammed. I'm an Assistant Director of Admission here at Rice University, and I'm thrilled to virtually be with all of you this evening. I do have a presentation that I'm going to share, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. All right, so hopefully you can see my presentation and we should be all set with that. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with just a little bit of information about Rice University. And to begin, I'm going to start with a couple of questions for you. All right, so what if? What if the next 4 years of your life were more about expanding your horizons than narrowing your focus? More about following your passion than following a path? More about how you think than what? What if choosing where you'll spend your next 4 years is one of the most important decisions you'll make in your life? What if it's also one of the easiest? So welcome again, everyone. Like I said, my name is Aziza John Mohammed. I'm thrilled to be here today. I have a bit of a presentation for you just to go over some of the information about Rice. We'll talk about our academics, we'll talk about student life, and I'll definitely be sure to leave time at the end if there are any questions. I'm happy to answer those too. All right, so another question for you before we really get into things. What if a boundless passion for knowledge was met with an endless supply? Here at Rice, we've got a wealth of talent, enthusiasm, inspiration, expertise, and opportunity to explore countless academic endeavors. Rice is consistently ranked by the US News and World Report as among the top 20 universities in the nation since we first appeared on the list in 1988. For the work that our faculty are doing independently and alongside our students, our faculty have garnered Nobel and Pulitzer Prizes, National Medals of Science, Grammy Awards, and Guggenheim and MacArthur Fellowships. Our small class size and focus on undergraduate teaching ensures that students have unparalleled access to faculty members. In fact, our student to faculty ratio is just 6:1, and then the median class size is 14. Here at Rice, we've got 7 different schools of study, which you can see pictured on the screen here. So there are the schools of architecture, business, engineering, humanities, music, natural science, and then the social sciences too. We also have some of the nation's top programs in engineering, in music, in architecture, and then we've also got some really unique programs like sports management and medical humanities. And new this year, which we're very excited about, is our undergraduate major in business, which is offered by the Jones Graduate School of Business with concentrations in finance and management. Overall, we offer more than 50 majors and 25 minors. So you'll name just one of those schools of study that we talked about earlier on your application to Rice, and then up to 3 majors and minors that might interest you. So at Rice, we have what are called flexible distribution requirements. And so these really offer our students the freedom to choose courses that are both challenging and fun. So in this system, students take a few classes in each of the humanities, the social sciences, and the applied sciences. But which courses you take and when you take them over all 4 years is entirely up to you as a student. And that's what differentiates it from a core curriculum, which is often a little bit more prescriptive. So flexible distribution requirements offer students both breadth and flexibility in your curriculum. So the choice of what you take is really up to you. And although 84% of our courses at Rice are taught by professors, we do also offer student taught courses. So these are supported by the Center for Teaching Excellence, and student taught courses allow undergraduates to teach and to take courses in some more non-traditional subjects, which actually supplements the Rice curriculum. So in the past, we've had courses like the ones you see on the screen, like philosophy of coffee, board game theory, and survivor strategies and social implications. You can also have more than one major at Rice. It's a great way to combine passions and actually happens quite often on campus. And a lot of the ways that students double major will often span multiple schools of study. So you could do something like Claire, who majored in mechanical engineering and visual and dramatic arts. or even like Cole, who majored in sports management and history. Or you could even do something like Emma, who double majored in cognitive science and philosophy. And yes, even with a double major, you can absolutely still graduate in 4 years. So there is plenty of time to take the courses that you want. In regards to academic advising at Rice, this support can take a couple of different forms. So here at Rice, your advising network will of course include, your faculty and staff, but also would include professionals and alumni and even other students. The advising system at Rice makes sure to offer individual attention to each student by faculty advisors, and they have unique educational perspectives and experiences, but then you also have constant access to professional staff members and your peer academic advisors, so other students in the college as well. From the day that you become a Rice student, Student Success Initiatives, or SSI as we call them, is there to help you transition to your college life. So this is the office that oversees O-Week, which is our week-long orientation to being a first-year student at Rice. And then they also oversee the Rice Emerging Scholars Program, or RESP, and they provide support for first-generation and low-income families, just to name a few of the things that they get up to. So another question for you all, what if your Rice education extended beyond the hedges? So when Rice students venture outside of the tall private hedge that surrounds our campus, we call it going beyond the hedges or hedge hopping. So when you're on campus, you work together with other faculty members and other students, and it's really everyone that's engaged in the learning and discovery process. Our faculty members are, of course, knowledgeable, and of course, they're accessible, but they're also really encouraging, and they come to Rice to work with Rice students. Rice is constantly producing new knowledge that will benefit humanity. From your first semester at Rice, you'll have the ability to join a research project, and more than half of our students will conduct research while at Rice. You can begin conducting research as early as your freshman year, and conducting research can really just be as easy as reaching out to a professor and letting them know that you're interested in a subject area and that you want to learn more. And that's how a lot of our students find their different opportunities on campus. Of course, there are also opportunities that happen off campus as well. So Rice's location in Houston is prime for industries related to finance, sports management, consulting, medicine, entrepreneurship, and energy. Our network of more than 17,000 Rice alums in the Houston area means that finding and making those connections for jumpstarting your career can really just be as easy as reaching out to a fellow owl. As a matter of fact, about 90% of our students intern while at Rice. Our Center for Career Development will help you create a resume, polish your interviewing skills, and they host hundreds of employers on campus each year to hire our students for internships and full-time jobs across the various disciplines. You can access the CCD as early as your freshman year, and they're available to you as much as you would like to be. So if that's something that you're interested in getting involved in, it's something you absolutely can do. And then you can also go off campus as well. So Rice students have access to 150 study abroad programs in over 60 countries on every single continent, including Antarctica. About 30% of our students will engage in some sort of international experience, whether that's soaking up other cultures while conducting research or engaging in service or even earning academic credit. And so what if longstanding institutional traditions were actually fun and meaningful? Campus traditions at Rice are as unique, time-honored, and beloved as the campus itself. Rice is actually known for its tight-knit community and the culture of care that we've cultivated on campus. The Princeton Review again this year ranked us as #1 in the nation for best quality of life and #12 for happiest students. In regards to how our community is structured at Rice, we have 11 different residential colleges at Rice that are really the core of our student life. These are where students live, it's where you eat, and you engage in everything from student government to intramural sports. Each incoming student is randomly assigned a residential college where they'll stay throughout their time on campus. And so even if you decide to live off campus, you are still part of that residential college and you're still very much part of that community. And so more than just your home base, your residential college really becomes the hub of campus life, and it becomes a big part of your Rice identity. So if you ever look at the Thresher, which is our student newspaper, and you see that they're quoting students, you'll notice that whenever they quote students, they'll use the student's name and then their residential college and then their class year. So your residential college really does become quite a big part of your Rice identity on or off campus. Even when you meet alums at airports or restaurants or anything like that, they always ask which residential college you were a part of. So it really is a thing of pride on Rice's campus too. And of course, I can't talk about Rice without talking about our traditions. Our traditions are as unique as the residential college system, and that's actually where a lot of them are rooted. So O Week, which we talked about earlier, run by Student Success Initiatives, and also student coordinators. It's a week-long orientation experience that starts with a very hearty Rice welcome and many, many helping hands to get new students moved in and settled into life at Rice. Additionally, every year during Willy Week, which is 1 week in the spring, we throw the world's largest water balloon fight. And then the colleges will play elaborate pranks called jacks on each other. And at the end of the week, the colleges compete against each other in an annual bike race that actually draws a bigger crowd than our homecoming. So one of the jacks, for example, that I saw happen on campus was one of the residential college took the other residential college's furniture and moved it out into the academic quad, which is the building you see in the picture behind me. So lots of funny things happening all throughout time on campus. And that's just one example, but Rice traditions are more than just fun and games. So one of our longest standing and most well-known traditions is the Student Enforced Honor Code, which has been around as long as the university itself. And so it gives Rice students a lot of freedom, which is also a really wonderful part of the Rice experience too. And so what if higher learning also meant being higher minded? Campus culture at Rice is the embodiment of our collaborative, inclusive philosophy. And the singular academic experience at Rice would absolutely be greatly diminished without the deeply rooted culture of care that touches every aspect of campus life. Students going out of their way to help each other is the norm rather than the exception. So this not only means helping each other through difficult classes, but it also expands to include emotional and physical health as well. Community service and global outreach are just a few of the ways that Rice students extend this beyond the hedges. And so it's really this collaborative spirit that's at the heart of the Rice experience. No matter what the challenge is, we know that we're stronger and smarter when we work together. Rice has consistently been ranked #1 for lots of race class interaction, and this year we're ranked #9 for LGBTQ friendliness. So diversity across the Rice student body, within the residential colleges and in our classrooms is both a meaningful and mindful part of the Rice experience. The community that we have on campus is something that we very deliberately work on and something that we're really proud of too. Our nearly 4,000 undergraduate students, 3,992 to be specific, hail from 53 US states and territories and 55 countries around the world. Even our campus itself is located in the heart of the most culturally and ethnically diverse city in the nation. So what if exploring your passions meant finding your family? Wherever your interests lie, there are definitely other enthusiasts here at Rice ready to band together and form lasting bonds. Rice is home to more than 300 student clubs, and they cover all interests from academic to volunteer. Some of our more popular student organizations include Rice Pride, The Thresher, which we talked about earlier, and it's also the #3 student newspaper in the country, according to the Princeton Review. And of course, our Marching Owl Band. They actually went viral a few years ago, so you can find a lot of their performances online. Generally speaking, a large number of student organizations on campus address special student interests such as the Rice International Association, the Hispanic Association for Cultural Enrichment, the South Asian Society, the Black Student Association, and Chinese Students and Scholars Association, just to name a few. There's also numerous sport-related clubs, so sailing, we've got rugby, volleyball, and soccer, and then there's also quite a few religious and spiritual organizations as well. If you're interested in connecting with current students and then also exploring interests both outside and inside of the classroom, we have a special Ask Me Anything virtual session that we do. You can register for that on our website. You can also request to connect with a Rice student if you have specific interests that I'm not able to talk about today. You're more than welcome to reach out to those students and they'd be happy to get back to you as well. But back to the presentation. In regards to athletics, our teams compete in NCAA Division I. We're a part of Conference USA. Our men's and women's basketball teams and women's soccer team have had especially impressive records last year. We also had quite a few athletes compete in the Summer Olympics, and one of our swimmers actually won a silver medal at the Paralympics, which we were really excited about. And we also have more than 27 different club sports and a variety of intramural sports. So if you have any interest in athletics, you're able to get involved in that at whatever level you're most excited about. So what if workspaces actually inspired better work? So at Rice, we give ideas room to grow and thrive. Dedicated workspaces are interspersed throughout Rice's campus. Some of our most popular workspaces include the Moody Makerspace, which is a 5,000 square foot interdisciplinary lab that includes a wood shop, a metal shop, a paint booth, rapid prototyping areas, and of course a classroom. And then we also have the Oshman Engineering Design Kitchen, or the OEDK, which provides space for interdisciplinary teams to conceive, design, and test prototypes to solve real-world engineering design challenges. The Digital Media Commons, or the DMC, also offers hands-on training. You can get assistance from their end in terms of finding tools to create different digital projects, whether that's for class or for otherwise. You have access to all of these resources and materials while on campus as a student. One of my favorite spots on campus is called the Hangout. It's a student-inspired, student-designed, and student-built space that's dedicated. It's a dedicated space for students to use that started as a weekend Rice School of Architecture competition. And it ended in this really beautiful place for all members of the Rice community to study and relax and generally hang out. The hammocks are actually very comfortable. So if you're ever on Rice's campus, I definitely recommend going to check that out. In addition to that, we've also got quite a few student-run businesses on campus. Rice really fosters an environment that encourages innovation and then also entrepreneurship. So our student center supports and advises these 4 student-run and managed businesses on campus. So we have the Hoot, which is a late-night food service on campus. We have Rice Bikes, which rents, sells, repairs, and even buys bicycles on campus. And then we have East West Tea, which is where students can enjoy some on-campus boba tea. And my personal favorite, Rice Coffee House. So it serves local coffees and teas, different pastries. It's very, very popular. They've always got a line outside the door, but it's always worth the wait. So again, if you're coming to campus, I recommend the Hangout, and then Rice Coffee House is some place to kind of relax and then take in the campus atmosphere as well. In regards to our campus, so we have over 4,000 trees that shade our beautiful 300-acre campus. Our campus has distinctive Mediterranean revival and modern architecture and is organized around 4 quadrangles and surrounded by hedges. We have permanent and site-specific works of art that are scattered throughout campus in courtyards, in stairwells, shared spaces, offices, libraries, in the lobbies, and even in the university's many expansive outdoor spaces. And we absolutely consider Houston an essential part of the education that we offer to students as an urban university. So Rice is nestled in the culturally vibrant museum district of the nation's 4th largest city. The museum district, we have over 20 different museums and institutions that explore subjects that range from natural science to the African-American experience. Houston is the most culturally and ethnically diverse city in the United States. And as a matter of fact, over 145 languages are spoken here in Houston alone. And of course, we can't forget, Houston boasts an unbelievably diverse, incredibly vibrant culinary culture that features authentic cuisine from all around the world. Our campus is located directly across the street from the largest medical complex in the world, the Texas Medical Center. And we're also convenient to a wealth of prestigious companies and organizations. So like Rice, Houston also boasts unique green spaces and resident professional companies in all 4 disciplines of the performing arts. And if you're a sports fan, in addition to our 14 NCAA Division I teams, which we talked about earlier, Houston itself has 5 professional sports teams that you can cheer on. And finally, a little bit of trivia for you all. In 1969, Houston was actually the first word spoken on the moon. And another piece of trivia, President Kennedy gave his moonshot speech from Rice's campus in 1962 from our football stadium, actually. So a few things you can take with you and share with those around you once we're finished with the presentation. So what if being a selective university actually meant helping more students attend? At Rice, we believe that talent deserves opportunity. So year after year, Rice has been named a best value and best investment in higher education by the Princeton Review, by Kiplinger, by PayScale, and by Niche. So 77% of our students graduate debt-free, 58% of all incoming freshmen receive grant aid, and Rice is committed to meeting 100% of demonstrated need for every single admitted student. And so we understand that affordability can have a large impact on determining the right school for you. And so that's why we offer this generous need-based aid plan called the Rice Investment, and we make it very easy to understand. So under the Rice Investment, students who are accepted to Rice, whose family income is between $130,000 and $200,000 are awarded at least half of their tuition. Accepted students whose family income is between $65,000 and $130,000 can expect a grant for at least full tuition. And accepted students who have a family income of less than $65,000 a year could receive full ride scholarships. For families making over $200,000 a year, we're still committed to meeting 100% of your demonstrated need through financial aid. So this means that if there's a gap between when an admitted student's family is able to pay and what our total cost of attendance is, we will help to cover that gap. We review every single applicant for a merit award. No separate application is necessary. Merit scholarships are offered by the Office of Admission, not the Office of Financial Aid. And so these can range from a few $1,000s to full tuition, and they are also renewable for up to 4 years. And to learn more about the affordability of a Rice education, if that's something you're interested in, we do have a few on-demand virtual sessions on our website, which you're more than welcome to register for as well. And of course, the application process. So what if one prestigious university cared as much about your story as we did your stats? Here at Rice, we are looking for voracious lovers of life. We're looking for diverse thinkers with an unquenchable curiosity about the world who will bring different life experiences and unique perspectives to our campus. We are need blind in admission review for all of our domestic applicants. So this means that our admission staff cannot see a family's income when reading the application. In our process, students are admitted based solely on their academic and personal merits. Your ability to pay will in no way factor into the admission process. So let's talk a little bit about what we as admission officers would look for in the application process. First and foremost, we look for academic excellence and intellectual curiosity. You'll name just one school of study and up to 3 majors on your application. At least one of the majors you name should come from the school of study that you chose, but the other 2 do not have to. Together, these will provide the lens through which our office will be able to review your application. We'll look for rigorous coursework and activities, grades that support your school of study and major choices, and we'll look for you to explain in your essays why you made those choices. So changing your major, even to another school of study at Rice, is allowed, but we aim to admit students who are passionate about their intended area of study. We also really look at your community engagement and contributions. So if you're an impact person in high school, you'll likely be an impact person at Rice and beyond, and that's who we want here. So you can show us that you're an impact person by joining organizations or engaging in activities that mean something to you and figuring out how you can help propel them forward. Rice is recognized for its diverse student body, and we're really proud to play host to students who are eager to learn about one another and the collective backgrounds that really make up the fabric of our campus. Each student here understands what they bring to the table, and then they have a vision for how they want to contribute at Rice. We also really look for students who really want to be here at Rice. And so while connecting with us can be a great way for you to learn about Rice, what matters to us is how you communicate that knowledge about Rice and why you think this institution is right for you. We provide students with many opportunities to deepen their understanding of what Rice offers and what makes our undergraduate experience stands out. And so you can do this in a lot of ways, by attending something like this, exploring our website, speaking with Rice students or alumni in your area. And then if Rice is your top choice school, and it's a good all-around fit for you and your family, which means that you've also used our financial aid calculator to estimate your cost of attendance, the best way to signal to us that Rice is your top school is to apply early decision. And so the information that I've gone over today is really just the start. And so to learn more about what we look for and how to craft an excellent college application, I definitely recommend checking out our 3-part application advice series on our website, which is admission.rice.edu. You can also find a full list of our application requirements on the website. And so in this section, I'll cover a few of the components that are a little bit unique to our process. So the Rice supplement to the Common Application or the Coalition application consists of a few questions about your interest in Rice. So we'll ask about what inspires you to study the majors or minors you've listed on your application, as well as why you want to be at Rice and what you think you could contribute to our community. The more open you can be when answering these prompts, the better. This is how we are going to get to know you. We'll also get to know you through the Rice box, which is my favorite part of the application. This is a decades-old, non-evaluative, really fun tradition in our application process, and it's a chance for you to upload a photo that gives us a glimpse into who you are. We've seen everything from bowls of rice, we actually get that a lot, to family vacations or pets, collections of keepsakes. I even get a lot of memes. I think last year I got a lot of endgame memes. And so our admissions decision does not hinge on what you submit. So we really encourage you to have fun with it, enjoy it, take it as something that's exciting, another fun part of the application. In regards to recommendation letters, we do require 1 counselor letter and then 2 teacher letters of recommendation. The counselor helps us understand your impact on the community, and then the teachers help us understand your classroom performance. So both of these recommendations should be from teachers of core academic subjects, and ideally one recommendation would relate to your intended area of study. Although it's not a requirement, we would prefer that these letters come from teachers who have taught you for a full course. Interviews are recommended, although they are optional. We offer seniors the opportunity to interview as part of a recommended, but again, optional part of their application process. These will begin in the fall. So for the 2021 to 2022 application cycle, they're all virtual and you can register for those online. And then to see all of the items we're required to complete your application, and then also some more of our admission policies, I'd also recommend visiting our website, so admission.rice.edu. And no matter which track you choose, just be sure that you adhere to our deadlines. So on the screen, you can see our timeline for early decision and regular decision applications for this year. If you are applying to the Shepherd School of Music and the Visual and Dramatic Arts Department of the School of Humanities, or the Rice Baylor Medical Scholars Program, or the School of Architecture, you may be required to audition or submit supplemental materials, and those items have their own deadlines. So again, please feel free to visit our website if you are interested in learning more about those. And I'm also happy to talk about this today if you have any questions. A few things though, just about the differences between early decision and regular decision. So early decision is binding, and that means that if you are admitted to Rice early decision, that means you will be coming to campus in the fall. We're very excited to have you here, and you're very excited to come to campus. Regular decision is not binding, so that means that if you're admitted to Rice regular decision, we're very excited to have you on campus. Hopefully you're excited about being here, but you don't have to be on campus. And so these are just some of, like I said, the dates and the deadlines for our early decision and regular decision plans. So these are also listed on our website if you're interested in learning more about those. Overall, we'd encourage you to connect with us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram and YouTube. Follow us, and you can subscribe to our channels to get new information as soon as we release it. You can also get to know your Rice admission counselor, so you can feel free to email us at admission@rice.edu with questions about applying or any updates on your endeavors. And we'd love to hear from students, so please feel free to reach out at any point. You can also check out some of the resources that we offer on our admissions website, which includes all of our on-demand virtual sessions and our new Webby award-winning virtual experience. So that's my presentation for you today. I hope you found some of the information helpful. I'm also going to stop sharing my screen now, so that way if you guys have any questions, I'm able to answer those. So if you all have any questions, I think you might be able to submit them through the Q&A, so feel free to do that. And while we get that going, I will also go through and, oh, we have a question, great. Is there a core curriculum? When do we have to have our major chosen? Is there an exploratory year for choosing a major in STEM? Yeah, so those are great questions. Thank you so much for asking that. We do not have a core curriculum at Rice. Instead, we have what we call flexible distribution requirements. And so with these flexible distribution requirements, we ask students to take 3 courses each in the humanities, the natural sciences, and then the applied sciences, in addition to a writing course. But which courses you take and when you take them across your 4 years at Rice is totally up to you. And so that's what differentiates it from a core curriculum, which is often a little bit more prescriptive of, you come to college and in your freshman year, you have to take this math course and this science course and this English course. With the flexible distribution requirements, you really have the time and the space and the breadth really to take the classes that you want to take and explore the areas you wanted to explore. When you apply to Rice, we do ask you to indicate on your application one specific school of study that you're interested in and up to 3 majors. So for example, if you're interested in a STEM field, like say engineering, you could say I'm interested in the School of Engineering with majors in mechanical engineering and English, because I also really like English. So you can pick different majors. They don't all have to be from within the same school of study, but students will officially declare their major towards the end of their second year, their sophomore year at Rice. And then in regards to if there is an exploratory year for choosing a major in STEM, because you don't have to declare your major until the end of your sophomore year, you could consider that first year as a little bit of an exploratory period, but because you can double major across schools of study and take classes across schools of study as well, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily one specific exploratory year, because your entire Rice experience can be taken as an exploratory year. You can use that time to take classes within the same school of study. So for example, if you were interested in engineering but didn't really know what kind of engineering, you could take time to take classes across different engineering majors, or within the natural sciences and the engineering school as well. So depending on what your specific interest is, you have time to really go about and choose those courses And once you've chosen your major, you can still continue to take classes outside of your major as long as it fits into your academic schedule. So even once you've declared your major, once you've chosen your STEM major, you're able to take other classes as well, whether those are also STEM related or otherwise. The choice is really up to you, even if you decide to study abroad, or even if you decide to go and do an internship or some sort of research off campus. You still do have that flexibility in regards to your curriculum. As long as you can make it fit into your schedule, it's something that you can take part in. So hopefully that answered your question, but if you have any other questions, please do feel free to answer those as well. I also see another question about freshman housing options, so I'm happy to talk about that too. So earlier in the presentation, we talked a little bit about the residential college system, and that's what the housing options are. So students live within the residential colleges. It's where you live, it's where you eat, it's where you sleep, it's where you spend your free time, it's where you'll do your homework. So the residential college is really all encompassing in that sense. In regards to what the actual housing options look like, so students will usually have a roommate, and the summer before you come to campus, you'll fill out a form about, what time you go to bed and how loud you play music in the room, just kind of preferences like that. So that way we can be sure that you're paired with someone that you'd be compatible with. And so typically that's what a freshman housing option would look like. The actual layouts can differ depending on the residential colleges, but students will almost always have a roommate freshman year. If you're interested in actually seeing the residential college layouts and what they look like, we do have tours of all of the residential colleges on our YouTube page. So I'd recommend going to look at that. I'm happy to explain it, but I think sometimes it's also easier when you just see it in person. So that's kind of about the freshman housing options. If it helps, I really like to think of the residential college system as Harry Potter style, which is kind of true, but also a little bit different. Obviously, we don't have a sorting hat, but the residential college system is really meant to be that source of community on campus. And so everyone is affiliated with the residential college, even after your freshman year. And even if you're someone who chooses to live off campus, or if you study abroad, you still very much are a part of that residential college system, and you're very much a part of that community. You still get to attend the events. If you're living off campus, you can still come and eat on campus, and you can still take the time to really become part of that community, that individual community, as well as the Rice community as a whole. So yeah, thanks for your question. And then I have another question here. Do you offer dual degrees or accelerated BS-MS programs? So we have an accelerated BS-MD program. It's called the Rice Baylor Medical Scholars Program. And so it's with Rice University and of course the Baylor College of Medicine. You can apply for that at the same time that you apply for admission to Rice. And so you do need to submit an additional application. The Rice Baylor supplement has a few questions just related to the program and your interest in the program. So the deadline for that is December 1st. So if you're applying to Rice, make sure that you have all of your application materials in. It is before the regular decision deadline of January 4th. So just make sure that you have everything in by December 4th if that's something you're planning on doing. It's a BS-MD program that gives students a conditional acceptance to the Baylor College of Medicine. So that means that you would start your Rice career with a conditional acceptance to medical school. You do, of course, need to fulfill the prerequisites and keep the grades up, and you will need to take the MCAT. But it is one of our sort of accelerated programs that we offer on campus as well. It's definitely also one of our more competitive programs. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would say definitely feel free to apply. But keep in mind that it's possible that you may be admitted to Rice and then not admitted to the Rice Baylor program specifically. So make sure that you're applying to Rice because you want to be at Rice as well. So that's kind of the basics about the Rice Baylor program. Hopefully that information helps. In regards to dual degrees, we have a few, although not too many. Most of them would be like 4+1 programs. So depending again on the specific area that you're interested in, you may find a few related to that. We do have some for engineering. We've also got a 4+1 program for public health. If there's anyone here interested in public health, we offer that as well with the University of Texas. So a few different ways to kind of go about, getting that degree, and depending on what you'd like to do. Again, I would say because we have those flexible distribution requirements, and because you can double major across areas of study, or even within the same school of study, you could have two majors as long as you can fit it into your academic schedule. So I would say because of that, we have a little bit more flexibility in terms of what a degree could actually look like at Rice. But hopefully that answers your question. And of course, if not, please do feel free to submit any other questions. Those are all the questions that I have for right now, but I also would love to talk about some of the other traditions that we have on campus. So I know I mentioned earlier about the different JACs that we do on campus. One of our residential colleges, Duncan College, which is located actually, if you are on campus and goes to my left there, you're able to go into the Duncan College Commons. And so Duncan College has a dunk tank outside of their building. And so every year, or on your birthday or your half birthday, if your birthday's over a break, students get dunked in the dunk tank. So each residential college kind of has their own fun and quirky different set of traditions that they have. One of my personal favorites is called Radio Free Sid. So every Friday at around 4:30 p.m., one of the residential colleges, Sid Richardson College, which is one of the taller buildings on campus, we'll put a speaker on top of their building, and then one student has access to the aux cord for a few hours, and they kind of play whatever you want. I think it's great because you never know what you're going to get, and you can hear it from our office. So in the holidays, it's a lot of holiday music, which really sets a nice tone as we're leaving the office for the day. I've also heard different audiobooks. I've heard various playlists. I've heard different textbooks or lectures also being played out loud. So you never know what you're going to get, but again, kind of a quirky part, which I think also encapsulates the Rice experience a little bit more generally as well. And then another part that I would say that's also kind of unique about Rice is the community that we have. And so I've mentioned the community a few different times, and we talked about it in the presentation, but I would also emphasize that the Rice community is one that's very intentional. You know, people really go out of their way to say hello to you in the morning when you're walking to campus, and people make sure that, you know, you are supported. As a student in the residential college system, you have access to various different forms of support and encouragement, whether that's a peer academic advisor, so an upperclassman student who may have taken the courses that you're in and who may have taken the time to learn about that subject area. They can help you if you have issues with the problem or with the project, or even if you just want to talk about the subject area a little bit more generally, you're able to learn from them and work with them as well. So there's a lot of community support on campuses, and it's a very collaborative campus. There's a lot of different opportunities for collaboration academically, but then socially and otherwise too. So, you know, academically, students will often work together in different groups. We mentioned the peer academic advisors. And then there's also a great sense of support in regards to the faculty and staff as well. So in the same way that faculty and staff support students, students also do the same. And it's a very student-driven campus, I think, which is something that our students really seem to enjoy for sure. Another thing I would add in regards to some of the interesting things that have happened on campus. So we mentioned in terms of some of our fun facts earlier that the first word spoken on the moon was Houston, and that Rice actually donated the land on which the NASA Johnson Space Center sits. We also do have 9 alumni that have gone to space as full-fledged astronauts, and we also have astronauts on our faculty. So if you're in the School of Engineering or are working with our Space Studies program, which is a graduate program, you're able to work directly with astronauts and members of the NASA Johnson and the NASA program as a whole, who are a big part of our campus. And we have currently an exhibit in Fondren Library, which is our main library on campus. And you can go through the exhibit and you can see different ways that Rice has contributed to NASA and to the space race as well. So if that's something you're interested in, it's definitely one of my interest areas. There's a lot that you can learn on campus, and our campus is also pretty accessible in regards to if you wanted to go to NASA. It's not too far of a drive from campus, so you're able to do that. Another way that students also get involved in the city of Houston is through our Passport to Houston program. And so the Passport to Houston is a program that works essentially with the Rice Student ID. And so with the Rice Student ID, you're able to travel throughout the city of Houston. You have free transportation on the Metro, which is our public transportation system. So actually, if you just, from where this photo is taken, if you just walk about 2 minutes, you'll hit a Metro stop. And so on the Metro stop, you can go anywhere within the city of Houston for free. Students have discounted access to restaurants, different events, shows, performances, games that happen every year during the rodeo. There's typically a Rice night at the rodeo. So that's a lot of fun, a great way to really explore the city, especially if you've never been to a rodeo before. So a few different ways to get involved if that's something that you're interested in. In regards to transportation, a little bit more generally on campus, we do have campus shuttles. It takes about 25 minutes to walk from one end of campus to the other. So depending on where you're coming from, that might be a big walk, and it might also be something you do relatively often. It does get quite hot in Houston, so I know I'll say that I'm definitely thankful for the shuttles when it's warm outside. So it's a nice way for us to get from one end of campus to the other. You don't have to pay for the shuttles, and they come around every few minutes. Also located pretty close to campus is Rice Village. So Rice Village is home to over 100 different restaurants, different shops, different stores that you can go to. So students will often go over there in the evenings to get some dinner, celebrate someone's birthday, whatever it is. There's lots of different options for students, and they have the legendary Yo-Yo's hot dog stand there too. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're absolutely able to access that as well. And students will often go into Rice Village too to study. So, if you have a study group or if you have a project that you're working on, you can go over there and meet up with different people, talk to different people, and really enjoy being in the city as well. But if you're someone who prefers to stay on campus, that experience is also totally valid. And quite a few of our students are really passionate about being on campus as well. We've got almost 300 different student clubs on campus, and if you don't see one that you like, or you have one that you were in high school that you were part of in high school that you wanted to continue being a part of in college, you're able to do that as well. So students can create their own clubs and get funding for that as well. Typically about once a semester, funding will be reviewed for different clubs. So you could always start your own club if there's something you want to participate in that we don't have on campus. And you can also get involved in the Houston community as well. We've got a couple of different offices that will facilitate that. So for example, if you're someone who's interested in community service, we've got this Center for Civic Leadership, and they'll help students find different places to engage off campus. And if you're someone who's looking to engage off campus as well in regards to research, which we talked about a little bit earlier in the presentation, you can absolutely conduct research both on and off campus. Sometimes finding a research opportunity can really just be as easy as reaching out to that professor and saying, hey, Professor so-and-so, I heard this project that you were a part of, or I saw that you were working on this. Is there any way that I can get involved? How can I help? How can I learn more? And oftentimes that's how students find most of their research positions. Of course, there will be times where, they're posted on a job board that they're looking for a research assistant, and you can apply for those positions as well. But even if you're interested in doing research off campus, like at the Texas Medical Center, you could do that as well. On campus, we've got over 45 different institutes and consortiums that sort of span the different fields of study related to some of the areas that we've already talked about today. We've got the Rice Bioscience Collaborative, the BRC. We've got Rice 360, which works on global health technologies, and a couple of other ones too. So depending on what your specific area of interest is, and depending on how you would like to spend your time at Rice, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about doing that. And there's a couple of different ways that you can really engage your different areas of interest, whether that's an area that you've been studying for a while that you're really passionate about, or maybe it's a new area that you find. Maybe you take a class on campus to fulfill one of those flexible distribution requirements, and you find that you are really interested in this new area of study. There's so many different opportunities and so many resources for students to get involved on campus, whether that's through research, or whether that's through just engaging in different opportunities, or whether that's through talking to new people or finding new opportunities in the city of Houston, in the state of Texas, in the US, around the world. Wherever it is, you have the resources that Rice can offer, and you're able to use those resources as you move forward and pursue whatever it is that your area of interest is, and as you pursue different opportunities that really, that you're passionate about and that excite you, and that you want to bring back to campus as well. So that's just kind of a little bit about Rice University. I really appreciate you all taking the time to be with me today. I hope this information that we shared was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our office. You can reach us at admission@rice.edu. And you can also visit our website, which is admission.rice.edu. So that's it for me today. Thank you again, and I'll pass it back to Andy.
All right. Thank you so much, Aziza. I also want to say thanks to all of you, and thanks to Aziza for sharing about Rice University. When you close this window today, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We would appreciate any feedback that you can provide. And you will be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other session recordings, at strivescan.com/cache. Thanks again, everyone, and have a good evening.